Fed Up is a documentary that addresses the childhood obesity problem and the way society and the federal government has managed the issue. Watching this movie has challenged the way I view food and exercise. Hearing the filmmakers discuss how the food industry directly targets children was really eye-opening. One of the quotes from the film, "Schools have become a 7-Eleven with books," resonated with me. I never ate school lunches, but watching those kids and seeing the options they had were concerning. No wonder there is an obesity epidemic. Kids are being given unhealthy foods every day for lunch, and then they're growing up thinking that eating those unhealthy foods every day is normal and good. Before the experts in the film pointed it out, I never realized how many food companies target young children using characters from their favorite cartoons and putting those products at their eye level. I liked how they also mentioned that while genetics do play a part in obesity, 60 years ago it was never this big of an issue. Genetics has always been around, but only recently did obesity become an epidemic. The ideology that it isn't the food that is bad, Americans are just lazy, is wrong. Dr. Mark Hyman's point that we are being duped into thinking that there are healthy alternatives changed the way I view all the so-called diet items on the shelves. While the food industry might have created more fat-free foods, they replaced it with increasing sugar. It was surprising to learn that on most nutrition labels, food companies include the government's recommended intake of each ingredient. The one ingredient they don't include is sugar, because they put so much more than the recommended limit. Watching the graphic that went through each child and what they ate through the day and how much sugar they are actually consuming was insane. I eat much of the same things, like cereal and pasta, and never realized the amount of sugar that is in my diet. Food companies use fancy graphics and nice-looking labels to make us think we're eating better, but it is all a facade. Hearing how the federal government has responded to this epidemic was concerning. Repeatedly, major health organizations have come up with very specific and clear findings on the danger of sugar and fatty foods, yet each time the government lets themselves get bullied into burying it. This only harms the people they swore to help and protect. They quietly put out brochures and guidelines telling us to drink less Coke, yet continue to subsidize corn syrup. Tom Vilsack, the former Secretary of Agriculture, acknowledges that many of their government rulings are dumb. He admits that tomato paste isn't considered a vegetable in his household, yet it's considered one in our schools. If he believes that, as I imagine most government employees do, then why do they let children in America grow up believing that? It was disheartening to hear how the well-meaning campaigns, like Michelle Obama's Let's Move campaign, were quickly derailed by the food industry. My roommate and I watched the Fed Up documentary together, and we were shocked about how bad the obesity epidemic is and the way it was handled. Since it has been 10 years since the documentary came out, I wonder how the childhood obesity epidemic has either gotten better or has it worsened. The documentary concluded that unless we radically change the way we look at food and treat the food industry, it will only get worse.